Welcome to Lively Lewis Stories.
Buckle up, because you're about to join Levi and Ivy on an adventure.
All you need is your imagination, and
Off we go! Lively Lewis Stories!
Ivy, have you seen my video game controller? Shouted Levi from the living room. Unfortunately for him, Ivy couldn't hear her brother calling because she was watching a cartoon on her tablet. Ivy, called Levi again as he walked up the stairs. I need my controller and you had it last. As Levi stopped in front of Ivy's room, she finally looked up and noticed him. What are you shouting about? She asked, looking annoyed because she had to pause her cartoon. My video game controller. I can't find it and you had it last, said Levi, looking around Ivy's room. I saw it downstairs in the kitchen, said Ivy, hopping off her bed to stop Levi from rummaging through her things. Remember you brought it in there because Mom said you had to eat breakfast and you didn't want to put it down? The kitchen, that's right, exclaimed Levi as he ran out of Ivy's room. Thank you. Ivy went back to her tablet as Levi grabbed his video game controller that was sitting behind a cereal box on the kitchen table and continued his game in the living room. It was then that Levi and Ivy's mom and dad walked in from outside. It was a beautiful spring day. Actually, it was the first beautiful spring day of the season, so it was extra special. The birds were chirping, the sun was shining, and a perfect light breeze was gently swaying the new flowers in the garden. Where are Levi and Ivy? Asked their mom. They can't possibly be inside on such an amazing day. If I know Levi and Ivy, I bet they're each in front of their own screen, sighed their dad, sounding disappointed. We have to put a stop to that and get them outside, said their mom as she called out their names. It took a minute, but soon Levi and Ivy appeared in the living room. Levi was holding a video game controller and Ivy holding her tablet. What do you need, Mom? Asked Ivy. This is the best part of the cartoon. And I'm super close to beating my high score and I need to get back to my game, said Levi. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there will be no screens today, declared their mom. Levi and Ivy, you can imagine, were not very happy to hear that. They stood there staring at their mom and dad, unsure of what to say. They thought maybe it was a joke, an early April Fool's Day prank. But when their mom and dad grabbed the video game controller and the tablet, they knew they were serious. But why? Levi and Ivy exclaimed, falling dramatically onto the couch. Because you're both entirely too into your games and tablets and screens. You need to just get outside and play and use your imagination. And this is the perfect day to do it, said their mom. But there's nothing to do, they both sighed. Why don't we go for a little walk and see what we can find, suggested their dad. Levi and Ivy reluctantly said yes, thinking there wasn't anything new for them to find in their neighborhood. They walked outside with their dad, and their mom stayed home to get lunch started. They started walking down the street, kicking stones along the sidewalk. They couldn't stop thinking of video games and cartoons. Then, all of a sudden, their dad stopped in front of an old storefront. They had passed it many times before, but didn't know much about it. Their dad explained that it used to be a toy store when he was their age. He would buy baseballs, kites, and all kinds of outdoor toys there when he was young. Then he and his friends would play all day in the sun, having adventures and making up games. This place is pretty special, said their dad. Take a closer look. It's amazing what you can see when you're not behind a screen. He smiled as if he knew something special was about to happen. He said he was going to run into the hardware store next door, and that Levi and Ivy should take a look through the toy store window while he was gone. Levi and Ivy didn't quite know what they were supposed to see, but they put their hands around their eyes and leaned against the glass door that led into the toy store to get a better look. When all of a sudden, the door creaked open. They both looked at each other before stepping inside. The store looked as if no one had been in there for 100 years. The shelves were dusty and the toys looked kind of boring to them. No batteries, no cords, no controllers, and no screens anywhere. But there was something that made them stay. Levi walked over to a wall filled with sports equipment and grabbed a baseball mitt. I guess it is kind of a perfect day to play catch, Levi said with a sparkle in his eye. At the same time, Ivy walked over to a display of sidewalk chalk. Wow, they have every color I can think of. Imagine the drawing I could make outside. whispered Ivy to herself. Her eyes sparkled as well. And before they knew it, everything in the toy store seemed to sparkle. Then something even more incredible happened. They heard a voice, but it wasn't their dad. It was the toys. Dolls, action figures, bikes, and pogo sticks all jumped, walked, and wheeled over to them. "Don't be alarmed," said an action figure who was dressed as an explorer. "We're friendly and just want to say hello." "Yes, it's been so long since any child has looked at us the way that you just did," said a little doll. "That sparkle in your eyes is pure magic, and it made us all spring to life. That look in your eyes is the spark of imagination, possibility, and energy," said a bright blue bike. "It's like the power of a million sunny summer days and playing outside all day long." Levi and Ivy looked around as the toy store glowed and shimmered with brand new toys. "Your imagination is far better than any video game or cartoon," said a striped kite as it floated through the air in front of Levi and Ivy. "Here, let us show you something." Just then, the back door of the toy store opened up to a world beyond Levi and Ivy's dreams. They stepped out into this unbelievable place and saw towering tree houses, sidewalk drawings that spring to life as they were drawn, beautiful fields of flowers, perfect for hide and seek, friends welcoming them, and every outside game they could possibly think of, set up and ready to play. "All of this is waiting for you every day just outside your front door," said the bright blue bike. "It's amazing what you can see when you're not behind a screen." Levi and Ivy both looked at each other, knowing they had heard the same saying somewhere before. "Dad said that to us before he walked into the hardware store." "You don't think," Ivy began, "that he knows about the magic that's inside here too?" "It's time to head back, my friends," said the little doll. "We just hope you stop by again soon to tell us all about the fun you've been having playing outside." "Oh, you can count on that," said Ivy. Before they walked out of the toy store, Levi was given a baseball by the action figure, and the little doll handed Ivy a bucket of sidewalk chalk. As they stepped back into their world, they couldn't wait to tell their dad all about what had just happened. As he exited the hardware store and they ran up to him, each shouted their own part of the amazing adventure they had just had together. Hold on, their dad said. "A magic toy store?" He paused for only a moment and then said, "I totally believe you. This toy store is magic, and once you go inside, you carry that magic with you always. Because when you play and use your imagination, anything is possible. It's just like I said. It's amazing what you can see when you're not behind a screen." He gave them a smile, as if to say he'd seen everything they saw when he was a kid, and was happy they saw it too. Levi and Ivy took a few steps before they turned together to look back at the store. From the outside, it still looked deserted and closed. But inside, Levi and Ivy saw their toy friends smile and sparkle as the spring sun shone through the storefront window.
Did you learn a lesson from this story?
If so, what was it?
And parents, do your kids have a story idea?
Leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, the idea, and your kid's name for a chance to join Levi and Ivy on their next adventure. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Come back for more.